Hello, BookTube. This is the final part of the fifth and final shelf of the third bookcase, and it's been almost all maritime books. This last part we're going to finish up with is all by or about a single author and sailor. And he's a somewhat controversial figure because he was a bit of a teller of sea tales. It's like a fisherman talking about their catch. Sailors tend to embellish your stories a little bit, but that doesn't devalue them in my eyes. He was a Welshman, so he had the gift of poetry and storytelling. His name was Tristan Jones. He was quite a character. And I first read Tristan. My father gave me this. So The Incredible Voyage, A Personal Odyssey. And the boat is a sea dart. And right here on the end papers, you can see the voyage. Little lines there. It's quite a voyage. It is an incredible voyage. I would set a record that would not be broken until man finds water amongst the stars, Tristan Jones. To seize his record, Tristan Jones sailed a small craft in the lowest body of water in the world, the Dead Sea in Israel, and the highest, Lake Titicaca in the Andes. And during this intrepid 6-year voyage, he traveled a distance equal to twice the circumference of the world and found himself 1,000 times beyond the limits of endurance. This gut-gripping sea yarn spun out of his determination to attempt nothing less than the vertical sailing record of the world, is at once a riveting adventure story and a testament to human tenacity. A salty, slashing style, he unfolds his extraordinary saga, revealing both a rich sense of history and an insuppressible Welsh wit. And like here he is at Devil's Island. So there's a lot of photographs of his journey. To me, it was a wonderful. It was just a wonderful adventure. Now I say it was a little controversial. So here you see it. It says Sea Dart, and here we have a biography of sorts. Sailing Among the Stars, the story of Tristan Jones' Sea Dart by Laurel Wagers. There's a quote, "You go to sea in that?" a New Jersey longshoreman asked Tristan Jones. That was his tiny Sea Dart, finally reunited with Jones after months at a dockside in England, still bruised and bedraggled from the legendary travels across South America. Readers have long enjoyed the outstanding stories of these voyagers told by Jones in The Incredible Voyage and in Adrift, but Sea Dart had sailed other seas with other captains and had extraordinary tales to tell. This is the story of Tristan's favorite boat. So this tells more about that boat. And then let me see here. Let's go. So the controversy is how much of this is made up, and I think some of it is exaggerated, but not enough to devalue them. So the part of maritime history and lore, probably somewhere between the two. So the next one I want to show you is A Steady Trade, A Boyhood at Sea by Tristan Jones. I was wakened from my half-reverie suddenly as a seaboard cried over the starboard quarter. I turned my head to see it. Tansy was no longer there on his bucket. He must have crept away down the companionway and left me to steer the ship alone. There was no one else on deck. I was in command of the ship. A Steady Trade is the story of Tristan Jones' childhood in Wales and boyhood in the arduous sail-in trade in Northern Europe before World War II. It's a charming, nostalgic reminiscence of a lost world, of childhood in a Welsh countryside still in the 19th century, of a time when shanty-singing sailors fought the weather to deliver bricks, coal, even animals around the world, and of a young boy who wanted to experience it all. So, A Boyhood at Sea, It's Steady Trade. This was published by Sheridan House. Drawings by John Cayea. Saia, I guess might be how you'd say it, but there's one of his drawings. Pretty neat. And this one was 1996, but it was an 82 copyright. And they give the years of Tristan Jones' life as 1924 to 1995. Then one of the other ones here, Tristan Jones' Ice. This was Sheridan House again. Here's a map around the Arctic. You got Iceland. You got him leaving the British Isles. This is originally copyright 1978, and this is 1999 edition. So, who but Tristan Jones, acclaimed by Time magazine as someone Lindbergh would have understood, would try to sail a boat farther north than anybody else. Accompanied by Nelson, a one-eyed, three-legged Labrador, he sets out in the summer from Iceland in the Cresswell to do just that. The first winter he holds up in Greenland Fjord near an Eskimo village. Trapped by a violent snowstorm, without adequate food or cover, he spends a week trying to dig himself out before being rescued. Adventure follows adventure in breathless succession. While moored to an iceberg, his boat is attacked by a ravenous polar bear. Tristan fends off the beast with a harpoon and finally drives him away by firing a flare into his gaping mouth. The second winter, Tristan, Nelson, and Cresswell are trapped in the middle of an ice pack in the Arctic Ocean. For 366 days they remain there, marooned in the bleak murk of the polar winter, with tons of ice above them, hoping the ice pack will drift far enough south to enable them to achieve the world's record. Will drift far enough, not south, to achieve the world's record for northernmost penetration by a solo manned craft. Then we have Tristan Jones' Saga of a Wayward Sailor. Again, a Sheridan House publication. This one, 1995 print of a 1979 story. Saga of the Wayward Sailor chronicles Jones' adventures aboard his beloved Cresswell, a wooden lifeboat converted to cruising sailboat. Jones survives storms, dismastings, arrest by the Soviet Navy, the smuggling of Edam cheeses, and Barbary apes, and being sunk by whale. We also get to meet an intriguing cast of dockside characters: Carl, the German fish canning salesman; Pete, the Australian smuggler; Sissy, the Englishwoman who wields her way permanently on board; and Nelson, Jones' three-legged dog. Then Tristan Jones, Heart of Oak, Sheridan House. This was a first published in 1984, Sheridan House edition 97. Following the highly praised account of his Welsh childhood and early years aboard a coastal sailing ketch in a steady trade, Tristan Jones now looks back to his years below decks in the British Royal Navy during World War II. It is 1940, and Britain is struggling under the Blitz. Discharged from his sailing barge, Tristan is thrown among wartime recruits from all walks of life. After a period of instruction, he goes to sea, first on transatlantic convoy duties, and later on the arduous Arctic runs to Russia. From the destroyer HMS Eclectic, Tristan and I witnessed the battle between the HMS Hood and the Bismarck, and he describes the thrilling pursuit and eventual sinking of the German battleship. Heart of Oak is an authentic rendering of life during wartime and is replete with salty characters, historic battle scenes, and exciting adventures that take place on both land and sea. Then we got Tristan Jones Yarns, which may be the most aptly title of all his books. This shows a map of the world of Tristan Jones. Pretty much covers the whole thing. So this is another Sheridan House. There's a little receipt for the volume. So it's first published in '83 by Sale Books, and then 1990 Sheridan House. So in Yarns, Tristan Jones tells how he began his writing career. He draws on his many adventures to evoke some of the memorable people he has met and describes some of the most beautiful cruising grounds in the world. He gives advice on everything from seamanship to dealing with local populations in remote places. Not to be missed is his marvelous evocation in the style of Conan Doyle as the mystery of the Mary Celeste is solved, or the Conrad-inspired story of troubled steamship breakdown. Other yarns include the tale of an unlikely salvage operation in Ibiza, a strange rendezvous off the coast of Africa, and of a coincidental meeting with one of America's greatest cruising sailors. So, yarns. This volume is a little mass market paperback. It's Tristan Jones, A Star to Steer Her By. From Columbia to St. Catherine's Dock, from New York to the Azores, with the last of the master mariners. Tristan Jones is a Welshman born at sea aboard a British ship off the island of Tristan da Cunha. He left school at age 13 and has been at sea ever since. When World War II broke out, he joined the Royal Navy and was sunk 3 times before he was 18. He served on convoy duties to USSR from Iceland and later in Far Eastern waters. After the war, he transferred to the Royal Hydrographic Service. His service ended in 1952 in Aden when an inshore survey vessel he was on was blown up by guerrillas. He suffered a severe spinal injury that left him paralyzed. He was told he'd never walk again and given a physical discharge. So, this is veteran seafarer Tristan Jones stirring advice to handicapped youngsters in this vivid account of his voyages and adventures following the amputation of his leg at the age of 60. A Star to Steer Her By is a story of how I met with disaster in the midst of triumph and how I struggled to overcome it. It is a tale how I returned to the sea in spite of almost unimaginable obstacles placed in my way by the fates. It is an account of how I turned a desperate situation into an opportunity to serve others. It also tells how I incidentally sailed 14,000 miles on my way around the world. Then we have The Improbable Voyage. And we're back to these Sheridan House volumes. This one is a 1986 book that the Sheridan House republished in this paperback edition in 1998. The Improbable Voyage is the account of Tristan Jones' 2,307-mile voyage across Europe in an ocean-going trimaran. With characteristic wit and inimitable style, the legendary sailor and master storyteller continues the tale of his round-the-world voyage, begun in Outward Leg, which is here. I probably should have done this first, but anyway. So, having half recovered in Amsterdam hospital from broken ribs and a collapsed lung, Tristan, together with his crew, sets up the Rhine and experiences the most severe winter known in Europe for many years. So, as I just said, Outward Leg, which is the first of the 2 volumes up there. See, this was again Sheridan House, and this was originally published in '85, but this Sheridan House did this in 1998, which would have been a couple years after Tristan died. After having his left leg amputated and spending 7 years ashore, Tristan Jones decided to return to sea. In October 1983, Jones and his only crew member, Wally Radisky, set out from San Diego on outward leg, a 36-foot trimaran, intending to circumnavigate the world from west to east by sail. So, those would go together. So, it's actually a trilogy. I'd forgotten this. This is a fun part of doing these shelf tours, besides taking the dust off your books. This would be the third in this series. So, it's Somewhere East of Suez, Tristan Jones. The final installment of this extraordinary saga, Tristan sails 8,000 miles from Istanbul to Thailand, from the tourist and terrorist-dominated ports of the eastern Mediterranean to African outposts peopled with famine refugees. So, that would be the three that go together there. And then we have Adrift, Tristan Jones, another Sheridan House. This one was, some of these are dusty, aren't they? That's terrible. So it was first printed in 1980, and this is a 1992 Sheridan House printing. As an ocean adventurer, Tristan Jones has no peer. Readers worldwide have been thrilled by his accounts of sailing the world's most dangerous and beautiful waters. Emerging from the South African wilderness after the incredible 60,000-mile voyage that took him from the world's lowest waters, the Dead Sea, to the highest, Lake Titicaca, Tristan Jones was arrested first in Buenos Aires and then in Montevideo. When he finally made it home to Britain, his vessel, the tiny Sea Dart, was impounded by customs officials because Jones couldn't pay the import tax. So, there's one final, well, actually I got one more and then the final one. So we have Tristan Jones, Encounters of a Wayward Sailor, another Sheridan House. 1995. Here is Tristan Jones, the greatest teller of sea stories, with a new collection of yarns, reminiscences, and adventures never before published in book form. Drawing on experiences from a lifetime at sea, Jones uses his acute powers of observation and his gift with the written word to transport us aboard boats struggling through savage gales, sweltering through parched calms, and sliding down the trade winds through beautiful phosphorescent seas. So, and then there's one here. Akka, the spellbinding sea adventure novel by the author of Incredible Voyage and Saga of Wayward Sailor, Tristan Jones. This is a bit of a departure. I had this at one time in a hardback. So yeah, it came out in 81, and then this is a Sheridan printing, again covered in dust. This was on the bottom shelf, so do a little vacuum in there. In a last-ditch effort to win status and success, middle-aged adventurer Bill Conan enters a 30,000-mile single-handed race to sail around the world. This ultimate test of skill, strength, and endurance lead him across a vast expanse of the treacherous Atlantic Ocean, where a sudden change in the wind throws him off balance and sends him overboard. Alone in the still, open sea, he fights to keep from drowning, knowing in a fight he must lose. But Conan has fallen into the migratory path of a bottlenose dolphin named Akka and his tribe. In an exhilarating encounter, they sense Conan's plight, communicate with him, and work to keep him afloat and alive. A stirring adventure tale, Akka is also an unforgettable portrait of the ancient history of dolphins, their extraordinary traits and abilities, and their eternal friendship with humans. novel by Tristan Jones. And he had more. I mean, that's what I have over the years. Like I say, I've lost a lot of them. Pick them up again when I see them, if I can remember what I have. But a blend of history, biography, tall tales a bit, but very, very, very enjoyable. So that is the second half of the fifth and last bookshelf of the third bookcase. So we're done with that bookcase. Thank you, BookTube.